Hi there, my name is Donna Meyer, and I'm the founder and editor of the Fencing Parents blog. I wanted to get this video out to everyone ahead of the board elections so that your decision is not skewed by an unfortunate and inaccurate belief that Donald Alperstein tried to kill youth NACs. There is a belief in the fencing community that Donald Alperstein tried to kill youth fencing at the national level. This is untrue and contrary to all objective evidence that we have before us. Now, it is true that Donald motioned for the formation of a task force in October 2022 to, quote his words, consider the advisability and propriety of conducting Y10 and Y12 events at national tournaments, with the report of its findings and recommendations to be delivered no later than the board's winter meeting in February 2023. Now, it is quite easy to interpret from the language of the motion that this was an attempt to eliminate youth fencing, especially if you did not know the background of how this motion came about. A movement among certain groups to eliminate youth fencing at the national level had been around for many years, but it reached new heights in 2021 and 2022. There had been a strong and somewhat emotional movement within segments of the fencing community pushing to eliminate youth fencing competition at the national level for a variety of reasons. There were those that believed that school-aged children should not be subjected to the stress of national-level competition, and they believed that it would be appropriate for USA Fencing to adopt the American Development Model for Youth Sports, developed by USA Hockey, wholesale without regard to the different circumstances between hockey and fencing. There were also those that believed that SYCs, RYCs, and other local tournaments were sufficient competition experience for youth fencers, without any regard to the substantial regional differences in strength and size of fields between the regions, and that this would certainly lead to uneven youth fencer development around the country. There were also those that believed the elimination of youth fencing at the national level would solve the problem of coach and parent misbehavior, which anecdotally seemed to be far worse around youth events. And finally, there were those that believed youth fencing at the national level should give way to the interests of adult fencers who wanted Division II and Division III events restored to NACs. It was quite clear in October 2022 that those advocating for the elimination of youth fencing at the national level were motivated by beliefs and interests that were not well supported by objective evidence. Donald's motion for proposing the task force was to have a group of experts collect and professionally and systematically evaluate the data and make reasoned recommendations based on that data on whether it is appropriate to eliminate youth events at national tournaments. He wanted the task force to make objective and evidence-based recommendations on what to do about youth fencing at the national level. In other words, he wanted a decision based on facts and evidence, not emotion or assumption. As we all know now, the task force not only recommended enshrining Y10 and Y12 events in the national tournament calendar, the task force also recommended that Y8 events be introduced at the local level. The task force recommendation was a big win for youth fencing. We should be grateful that Donald Alperstein stood up for professionalism and doing the right thing around the push to eliminate youth fencing at the national level. So no, Donald Alperstein did not try to eliminate youth fencing at the national level. In fact, He saved it by setting up a task force made up of high-powered professionals who recommended cementing youth fencing's place at the national level. Donald is the strongest and most effective friend that fencing families have on the USA Fencing Board. Fencing families should rally around his candidacy, and we should give him our votes. Thank you for listening.